They lift more than anyone else. They push limits that most people wouldn't dare approach. And yet, when the barbell crashes, when the plates clang, when the sweat drips, they are left alone. The truth, it really sucks to be a power lifter. Powerlifting isn't a sport for the faint-hearted. It's a test of every fiber in your body, a negotiation between raw strength and absolute precision. Bench press, squat, deadlift, they're not just exercises, they're rituals, and for the power lifter, every session is a battle against gravity, time, and themselves. Walk into any powerlifting gym and you'll see the difference immediately. The air thick with chalk, dust, the sound of iron plates colliding with the floor like gunshots in slow motion, the quiet intensity on faces, eyes locked on the bar, muscles coiled, hearts pounding. This is not just training, this is obsession, and obsession for a power lifter comes with a price. The grind starts early. Many powerlifters wake before sunrise already thinking about technique. Warm-ups, accessory lifts, mobility work, every movement calculated, every rep measured. The obsession with peers' personal records can border on unhealthy. One missed rep can ruin an entire week, even a month of training, and that mental pressure, it never truly goes away. In 2025, with AI-driven training apps, biometric tracking, and advanced recovery analytics, one would assume powerlifters have it easier, but technology has only raised expectations now. You're not just lifting, you're logging every rep, every calorie, every micro-adjustment to optimize performance. There's no room for off days, no room for imperfection. The machine tracks you, and when the numbers dip, anxiety spikes, pressure builds, motivation falters. The physical toll is brutal. Squats that crush your knees, deadlifts that strain your lower back, bench presses that shred your shoulders. The human body was never meant to lift hundreds of kilograms repeatedly. And yet, powerlifters do it over and over because in this sport, weakness is not tolerated. Every tendon, ligament, and joint is pushed to the brink. Every muscle screams, every nerve fires. Pain becomes a constant companion, and injuries, they're part of the narrative. Torn muscles, herniated discs, wrist and elbow strains. Sometimes the injuries are minor, a week off, a month off. Other times, careers are altered permanently. Unlike team sports, powerlifting has no built-in safety net, no substitutes to pick up the slack. If you're injured, you're sidelined, the grind stops. And that psychological hitch, realizing your progress could vanish in a moment, can be devastating. Social media complicates everything. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube showcase powerlifting highlights, insane lifts, epic peers, world records. It looks thrilling, but behind the clips are months of pain, sacrifice, and anxiety, and the pressure to appear perfect, to post every lift, every milestone, every meal prep. It's exhausting. The digital arena can be just as taxing as the gym. Every comment, every view, every like becomes a measure of worth, and when you don't trend, self-doubt creeps in. Powerlifting isn't glamorous. Unlike mainstream sports, there are no million-dollar contracts, no stadiums filled with cheering fans. Even the top-tier athletes often rely on coaching, sponsorships, or personal training to fund their careers. The average lifter competes for the love of the sport, for personal pride, and for fleeting recognition. That's why it sucks, because the effort is enormous, but the reward outside of personal satisfaction is minimal. And yet, they keep coming back because powerlifters are wired differently. Their obsession drives them forward. Their resilience keeps them in the gym when others would quit. But that same drive can become a double-edged sword. The very qualities that make them elite, discipline, grit, focus, also make them vulnerable to burnout. And when burnout hits, it hits hard. The body rebels, the mind fatigues, motivation dwindles, and there's little external recognition of this struggle. Let's dive into the psychology. The mental health revolution in sports. Simone Biles, Naomi Osaka, Michael Phelps has opened conversations about anxiety, depression, and the pressure of perfection. But in powerlifting, the conversation lags. The culture glorifies strength and stoicism. Weakness is hidden. Vulnerability is masked. Asking for help or admitting struggle can feel like failure, and this internalized pressure, it amplifies stress, increases the risk of overtraining, and can even drive athletes away from the sport they love. Pressure isn't just internal. Competitions bring a new level of intensity. A powerlifting meet isn't just about lifting the heaviest weight. It's about timing, strategy, and nerves. Every attempt counts. One missed lift can drop you from the podium. And unlike sports with teams, you are entirely on your own. The spotlight is unforgiving. Judges scrutinize form. Audiences watch every rep. And any mistake, no matter how minor, can haunt you for months. The community, while supportive, can also create subtle pressure. In the gym, comparisons are constant. Who squats more? Who deadlifts heavier? Who is the most disciplined? Even casual observations can feel like judgment. This social stress adds another layer to an already punishing sport. It's one thing to lift heavy, it's another to carry the weight of expectation, both internal and external. Nutrition adds another layer of difficulty. Powerlifters must carefully manage body weight and strength, gaining muscle without unnecessary fat, maintaining energy for peak performance, and recovering effectively is a daily challenge. Diet isn't just a lifestyle choice, it's a tool for survival in the sport. One misstep in nutrition can derail weeks of progress. And with social media influencers posting extreme bulking or cutting strategies, comparison can exacerbate stress and self-doubt. Then there's the long-term toll. Unlike football or basketball, powerlifting doesn't offer long-term financial security. Careers are short, injuries accumulate, joints deteriorate, and for many, the question becomes, How long can I keep doing this before my body gives out? The reality is sobering. Many athletes face chronic pain in their 30s and 40s. Some are forced into early retirement, leaving behind a lifetime of dedication with few tangible rewards. But despite all this, the pain, the pressure, the sacrifice powerlifters endure, they keep showing up every day, every week, every month. Because for them, lifting is more than a sport. It's identity, it's purpose. It's the measure of their resilience, their discipline, and their courage. And yet, there's loneliness in powerlifting that outsiders rarely see. No teammates to rally behind. No coach running alongside you on a track. Just you, the bar, and the weight. In those moments, the gym becomes a mirror. Every flaw, every weakness, every fear is amplified. The silence between sets is deafening, and that mental isolation, it's brutal. Consider the deadlift, the ultimate test of raw strength. When the bar is loaded, all eyes are on you. The room holds its breath. Every microsecond counts. The mind races. Stay tight. Engage the core. Don't round the back. And when you fail, when the bar refuses to move despite every ounce of effort, the disappointment isn't just physical, it's existential. The sense of self can feel shattered. Because in powerlifting, your worth is often tied to your performance. And when the performance falters, so does your confidence. The mental fatigue compounds. Off days aren't just inconvenient, they're devastating. Injuries, missed lifts, slow recovery, and psychological stress pile up like weights on a bar. Every day becomes a negotiation. How much can I push before breaking? How much can I sacrifice for the pursuit of progress? The lines blur, life outside the gym starts to suffer, relationships strain. Social connections fade, sleep becomes inconsistent. The obsession eats everything. And yet, the culture glorifies perseverance. Push through. No excuses, one more rep. It's motivating, yes, but also unforgiving. The same mantras that fuel achievement also normalize suffering. You're expected to endure, to sacrifice, to prioritize the barbell above all else. And when you falter, judgment is swift. Critique from peers, coaches, even strangers online, it's relentless. In 2025, the rise of social media only intensified this dynamic. Platforms thrive on spectacle. Videos of insane lifts, perfect form, and massive peers flood feeds. But the viewer rarely sees the early mornings, the physical therapy sessions, the days spent in pain, the nights awake with anxiety about performance. It's all filtered, compressed, curated. The pressure to maintain that image is relentless. To appear unstoppable, to never show vulnerability, and hiding struggle takes its own energy that could be spent recovering, resting, or simply living. Powerlifting is a sport of extremes, strength beyond imagination, pain beyond comprehension, obsession beyond reason, and yet, paradoxically, it is also deeply human. Every failure, every injury, every mental battle is part of a story that few understand. They see the raw power, the plates, the bar, the lifts, but they rarely see the cost, and that cost, it's staggering. It's not just physical, it's emotional, it's mental, it's existential. Every decision is weighted by consequence. Every lift is measured not just in kilograms, but in self-worth, resilience, and identity. When you fail, it's not just a PR miss, it's a reminder of human fragility. And yet, the very act of standing up, gripping the bar, and attempting the impossible again and again speaks to an inner strength that is often invisible to the outside world. Long-term, the sport exacts its toll. Knees, shoulders, and spines accumulate wear. Recovery becomes a science. Supplements, physiotherapy, mobility work, it's all mandatory, not optional. The body ages faster under this strain, and unlike some sports, where athletes can transition into commentary, coaching, or endorsements, powerlifters often struggle to translate their achievements into sustainable careers. For many, the sacrifices remain personal victories, not public recognition. The emotional strain is equally intense. Imagine training for months for a single meet, only to miss a lift by fractions. The frustration, the disappointment, the self-doubt, it's immense. And in a culture that prizes stoicism, talking about these feelings is rare. The mask of invulnerability becomes necessary, even as it isolates. And that isolation amplifies stress, erodes motivation, and sometimes even fuels depression. Yet, despite everything, powerlifters return. They walk into the gym, chalk in hand, eyes locked on the bar. They do it for the sense of control, for the feeling of weight in their hands, muscles engaging, adrenaline surging. They do it because, despite the suffering, there's a singular clarity in the grind, of simplicity in the struggle, in a world filled with chaos. The barbell is constant, predictable, honest, and sometimes that's enough to keep coming back. It's a sport that asks more than it gives, punishes mistakes harshly, rewards consistency sparingly, and exposes every weakness with brutal honesty. And yet, the powerlifter persists because deep down, they know the struggle, the pain, the loneliness, they're part of what makes the victories meaningful. APR achieved after months of setbacks, a successful meet after injury, a perfected lift after countless failures, those moments define them. But here's the bitter truth. Very few people will ever understand the cost. They see the highlight reels, they see the numbers, they see the trophies. They don't see the torn ligaments, the chronic pain, the nights spent questioning every decision, the fear of failure that lingers long after leaving the gym. And that's why it really sucks to be a power lifter. The rewards are internal, the sacrifice is immense, and the world often oblivious. Powerlifting is a paradox, simultaneously empowering and punishing, exhilarating and exhausting. It demands everything, body, mind, and soul, and offers recognition only to the very few who reach the pinnacle. For everyone else, it's a lifetime of dedication shadowed by hardship, a sport that defines you even as it threatens to break you. And yet, in the face of all this, the powerlifter stands. They chalk their hands, they grip the bar, they inhale, exhale, and lift because strength isn't just measured in kilos, it's measured in resilience, in courage, and the willingness to return day after day, despite knowing the cost. That is the hidden story, the truth behind the lifts, the secret weight they carry that few will ever understand. So, why does it really suck to be a powerlifter? Because it's a life lived on the edge physically, mentally, emotionally. Because every success is hard-earned, every failure magnified. Because the world rarely sees the grind behind the glory. Because the bar never stops demanding more, and neither does your mind. And yet, maybe that's also why it's beautiful. Because in powerlifting, every lift tells a story. Every failure, every victory, every scar, they're proof that you dared to push limits that others wouldn't even attempt. And that, paradoxically, makes the struggle worth it. Smash that like button if you've ever admired someone who fights through pain to achieve greatness. Which athlete inspires you the most? Drop their name in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. We've got another behind-the-scenes sports story coming tomorrow that you want to believe.